What's going on, everyone? Jack here from HapChrome. This is the Xiaomi Fimi A3, and it's a really nice beginner drone for less than $300. In fact, right now you can get it for about $225. That's a sale deal, but generally you can find it for $230 to $250. And is this a better drone than something like the MJX Bugs 12 or Bugs 20? Well, let's find out. First, let's talk about the difference between the two Xiaomi Fimi drones. The A3, the one that I'm talking about today, is the less expensive of the two. It's definitely a little bit lighter, but as you can see, it does not fold. It has a 2-axis gimbal, and it's an 8 megapixel camera. This is the Xiaomi X8 SE 2020 edition, and it's definitely a more capable drone. 3-axis gimbal, capable of taking 4K footage, has a handful of different flight modes, and it uses an app that has a whole lot of different connectivity and different functions. This is a better drone. It's also a more expensive drone. So this one, generally speaking, is about 400 bucks. Sometimes it's a little bit more, and if you're lucky, sometimes you can get it for a little bit less. But really, I want to focus on the A3 today because this, I think, is a really good beginner drone, mostly because of the price point, and there are some things about it that I just really like. Now, one thing that's unique about the Xiaomi Fimi A3 is that it does not have an app. It doesn't use Wi-Fi. It just sends a video signal back to the remote control, which has a built-in screen, and that, if you ask me, it's a really, really nice feature. You don't have to lug around your smartphone. You have to worry about your smartphone battery dying out. You don't have to worry about an app or connecting to Wi-Fi. You just get it up in the air and you go. It does have some smart flight features like Dronie, Orbit, and I really like the Follow Me. Now, it follows the remote. It's not a vision-based system, but it actually works really well. I got it up in the air and I had it following me. And then as I was walking, I was able to kind of maneuver the drone into the place that I wanted it, move the camera gimbal. It actually just was really smooth. This is pretty nice. Now, I do like this camera. Like I said, it's on a 2-axis gimbal, and it's supposed to be electronically stabilized in the yaw. So that's 3 axes of stabilization. Now, this is really good for a drone that's just over $200. Now, the Bugs 12 or Bugs 20, those are just under $200, but they don't use a gimbal. They use electronic image stabilization, and that kind of degrades the quality, crops it a little bit. This gimbal does a really pretty solid job, and I like the pictures coming out of this camera. Now, unfortunately for us, our camera is kind of focused not quite right. It really has a really nice sharp focus when it's nice and close to something, but really as a drone, I want that image to be clear in the background. So ours is out of focus in that aspect. Now, it's not terrible, but it's not something that I really like. I kind of checked the internet to see if that's a common issue, and it looks like we just kind of got lucky there. But just kind of note that that is an issue. I think it could be fixed if I took these screws off in the back and kind of tighten that lens down, but really don't want to do that. And I probably shouldn't have to. I'm not going to send it back, but you know, I don't know, maybe in time I'll take care of that on a day where I've got nothing going on, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Now, this remote control is really nice, and it's really nice, like I said, because it has this built-in screen, and that allows me to see the image. Now, the image actually transmitted back to this screen is an analog one. That means, for those of you FPV people, you can actually connect this to your FPV goggles. Orcas, Fat Sharks, Sky Zones, it does not matter. Eachines, they will all work. Any sort of standard FPV screen will also be able to work. Now, I did fly this with my goggles just because I had to experience it. And it was fun. You get the camera and the gimbal control too, but the field of view is kind of narrow. I think it's 80 degrees. So that isn't quite what I'm used to. You know, these FPV drones generally have wider field of view, and that's so you can see obstacles on either side of you. So it's not really the recommended way to fly, but it is kind of cool. You know, maybe it's a really sunny day, you throw the goggles on, you don't have to deal with the sun glare. So that's kind of nice. The dials, I've got one for exposure value, one for gimbal control. Now I can actually change this one to do other things. The buttons on the back, starting and stopping my camera. And this is actually for, this is a customizable button. There is actually a port on the bottom of this if you want to connect a servo and set that up. I don't really know how, and I don't know that the instructions are super clear, but it's kind of cool that you have that functionality if you really like to tinker. Other things on the remote, right, you got your GPS switch it out of GPS into ADDI. This switch here has a variety of different functions, but basically get into the menu, take pictures, things like that, take pictures of the screen, and your return to home, and of course your power button. Now, not having an app is nice, but I wouldn't say that the interface here is super intuitive. In fact, when you're doing a smart mode like an Orbit or a Follow Me, you have to go back into the menu to switch out of it, and I found that to kind of be, a little bit goofy. I don't know, maybe there's a kill or an automatic stop, but none of these buttons were working for me. I had to go back in and turn it off. I would have liked to have seen a stop button. Usually on the screen you just tap it, but this is not a touchscreen, so that's not going to happen. You can also record in here. There's a place for an SD card, so if you want to record the screen, the image on the screen, I don't know why you would, but maybe if you wanted the telemetry data or something like that, you can do that. But the drone does also record on board via an SD card. Now this FIMI has a flight time of up to 25 minutes and a range of 1,000 meters. Now, I'm not so sure you're going to get either of those numbers. The 1,000 meters, you're going to have a clear line of sight, and the analog transmission will do better with a clear line to the drone. Now, the 25-minute flight time, you can probably expect to get closer to 20 minutes if you're really good, but flight times and ranges are always overstated. They're under perfect conditions. Nobody flies under perfect conditions, or at least I don't. But, overall not bad, especially for a drone, again, in this price range. Overall, I really like flying this Xiaomi FIMI A3. It's got some zip to it. I believe the top speed is 18 meters a second. That's about 40 miles an hour. That is fast. There's also a cinematic mode if you want to go nice and slow. It did seem kind of a little bit jerky at times, but maybe it's not the smoothest of drones. But again, this is a really good option if you're thinking about getting into flying and you don't want to break the bank. Would I recommend this over a Bugs? Yeah, probably. I think I really like this for a beginner. Again, I like not having to deal with a smartphone app and just using this controller that comes with it. But in terms of how does it stack up against, its bigger brother, well, the X8 is definitely a better drone. This compares better to something like the Mavic Mini or the Mini 2, whereas this, this is not quite on par with that in terms of capabilities or camera. But again, pretty darn good, and not going to find a whole lot in this price range that can do what this can do. I would have liked to seen it foldable, and it's pretty darn light, but it's not under 250 grams, so you got to keep that in mind. But overall, pretty solid little drone. So if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and activate notifications so you don't miss any videos or upcoming live streams. So we also have a Patreon, and once a month we're giving away a free drone to a lucky Patreon subscriber. Don't forget about our website, halfchrome.com, where we have everything from photography to FPV. So if you're looking for more information on this drone or any drone, it's there for you. And make sure you check the video description down below, because we have links. They are affiliate links, and that's how you can help support this channel. At no cost to you, you get one of these awesome products, and it helps the channel out. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. Did we get something wrong? Let us know. We'll catch you next time. Good luck and happy flying.